common memory. It's our common obligation. To achieve this, Poland called to life Raphael Lemkin's Center for Documentation War Crimes in Ukraine. We discussed possibilities for Polish-American cooperation in this area. I call for an end of the bloodshed and a ceasefire for the duration of the talks between Ukraine and Russia. In my capacity as OSCE chairman in office, I welcome the understanding for the creation of humanitarian corridors that will facilitate the evacuation of civilians from Ukrainian cities under siege. Along with the majority of OSCE countries, I appealed for this from the outset of the conflict. I view this understanding as a ray of hope to prevent more Ukrainian civilians from falling victims to war. Everything possible must be done to ensure the evacuation. Russia's aggression in Ukraine caused a humanitarian crisis of an unimaginable scale. Our priority is organizing effective aid to hundreds of thousands and soon be millions of refugees. Poland already received up to 700,000 refugees, and we will continue to do so for everyone that needs it, regardless of a nationality, race, or religious creed. The attack on Ukraine already transformed Europe and its sense of security. Poland decided to immediately increase its defense spending budget to 3% of its GNP beginning next year. As a key country for deterring and defending NATO's eastern flank, Poland wholeheartedly welcomed the alliance's swift reaction to the new strategic circumstances. And conveyed to Secretary Blinken my thanks to President Biden for his effective leadership in coordinating an explicit, united, and effective response from the transatlantic community and the free world to Russia's aggression. As a host country for NATO response force on the eastern flank, Poland plays a critical role in this reaction, and we are determined to abide by it. In line with the Charter of the United Nations, Poland will provide all possible support to Ukraine, who is currently defending itself from an unlawful, as I said, unprovoked aggression. Thank you.
Secretary Blinken.
Thank you. Збигнев, I want to thank you, as always, for a very good exchange, for the very warm welcome. And we were just at NATO together. We were in Washington together just a few weeks ago, and it's very good to be here with you. I'm also especially pleased that Ambassador Brzezinski is now here in Poland, credentialed last month. Timing could not be better. It's vital that we have all of our confirmed ambassadors in place at this critical time. And we are, in fact, meeting at one of the most urgent moments in the long history of friendship between our countries. As allies and partners, Poland and the United States have stood together through many, many challenges. Now, the very ideals that bind us, freedom, democracy, peace, security, are under threat in this region as never before, certainly not since the Second World War. The people of Poland know how important it is to defend freedom. So do Americans. And we will stand together, as we've been standing together, in support of Ukraine and against Russia's unprovoked, unwarranted, premeditated invasion. In NATO, at the European Union, the OSCE, where Збigniew is the chair in office this year. Poland is doing vital work to respond to this crisis. It's hosted an increased NATO presence. It's supported the robust EU sanctions against Russia. And it has done a great deal to facilitate security assistance to Ukraine. As NATO allies, defense cooperation between Poland and the United States, I think it's safe to say, is closer than it's ever been. Since January 30th, the United States has more than doubled the number of our military personnel deployed in Poland to now more than 10,000, including a brigade of the 82nd Airborne Division. And we've significantly increased the amount and types of military equipment and capabilities that we positioned in Poland. As President Biden has said, we will defend every inch of NATO territory. Poland is also a leading responder to the humanitarian crisis that Russia's invasion of Ukraine has sparked. As Збигнєв just said, as of today, more than 700,000 people have been forced to flee the violence perpetrated by Russia by crossing the border from Ukraine to Poland, with more coming every single day. I'm going to have the opportunity to speak to some of the folks who've come over just recently from Ukraine. But I have to say, it's an incredibly powerful reflection of Poland's values, that vulnerable people know that here they will